thepascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this day is finding you in good spirits. It's Friday, baby. Yes, it's Friday. And today's a very action-packed day for me. I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stories going on. There's something that happened last night that we need to talk about today on this morning's show. But, you know, just so you guys know, just a reminder, I am doing a watch party of the Bryan Kohberger hearing that's happening around 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're trying to throw everything out the window. They're trying to throw everything out. He's trying to get a dismissal. I don't think it's going to happen, but this is what they're trying to do today, which is going to be very interesting. So we will be watching that today at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be on the lookout for that, because that's going to be a very interesting one for sure. It's going to be the first time we've seen him in a while showing back up in trial. Okay, just to give you guys a reminder of that. Okay, I already have a whole live stream set up since last night. So make sure you have your notification bells on, or go over there and, you know, hit the whatever you need to do to make sure that whenever I go live, it goes live and reminds you of it. Okay, just so you guys know. All right, but we got some things we got to talk about. This dude, he back at it again. Yes, he back at it again. So we got to talk about that. All right. So do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, make it scream out your name. You know what to do. You know what to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on Facebook and all of that good stuff. That would really, really mean a lot. Of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, crush that follow button on my Facebook page. Be sure to do that, please and thank you. Be sure to do that. All right. And of course, follow me on my social medias, The Pascal Show, one word, TikTok, and on X and on Instagram. Follow me on all those platforms, please and thank you. And of course, if you want to support the channel even more, you can hit that join button down below and become a member of the family. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also join my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show, or you can go and buy some of my merch. PascalMerch.com. Go check it out. It's some really special quality merchandise. One of a kind, to be really honest. Okay? Not just some t-shirts with some sayings on it. All right? Which we do have those things too. But still, I got some really nice handcrafted t-shirts and hoodies. So go check that stuff out. All right? Anyway, I appreciate you guys being here, rocking and rolling with me, and being a part of the conversation. Again, today is a crazy day. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things being covered. And so we got to go into these things and talk about these things. Now, one of the things that we need to talk about is the whole situation that's been going on in Kansas City. We already know about these 3 Kansas City Chief fans that were found gone. Apparently, they say that they were froze to death in the backyard of this guy's home, or, you know, he was a tenant or a renter of this particular home. And now the renter is saying, Jordan Willis, you know, let's get it out the way, because we all know his name at this point. If you've been following this story, we all know his name now. The renter's name is Jordan Willis. We know he's a scientist, but he doesn't seem like the smartest guy. Doesn't seem like he's the sharpest tool in the shed. Why? Because he keeps bringing back this particular individual. And I'm not talking about Cuomo, okay? Shout out to Cuomo. He a beast. I'm talking about this guy right here with his wild hair, all right? We're talking about John Paserno. This is the guy who is representing Jordan Willis, okay? This is Jordan Willis's attorney, okay? And I still got so many questions, because in these interviews, as we've talked about a million times before, this man keeps changing the story. This man keeps changing the doggone story. And it's getting really annoying. Long story short, I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated, and all that. Because let's be real, these interviews are not helping the narrative. He keeps changing the timelines. He keeps changing where the guy was, if the guy was asleep, if this guy was awake, how he saw them leave, how he didn't see them leave, how they may have walked into the back, how they walked through the house, how he was in and out running errands all day for 2 days straight, to when he has been home, working from home this entire time, and then some. Don't worry, we are going to be getting into that video and into this interview very shortly. But there is another video that I want to share with you guys first that I think is extremely important, because it's another piece that is before the actual interview that Cuomo has with John Paserno. Okay? And it's with the news reporter straight out of KC that's been following and covering this case very diligently. And there's a lot of things that he's saying in this interview that Paserno tries to push back at. And again, there would be no reason, there would be no need for Paserno to continually have to come onto these shows and push back if he didn't get his story correct in the first doggone place. Or if he actually just turned to his own client and said, hey, you shut the hell up and you just tell me exactly what it is. If you change it one more time, I'm leaving and I am not going to represent you anymore. That's what I would think, at least if I was an attorney. But again, I'm not an attorney. I just play one on TV. But this man is so concerned, this Paserno guy is so concerned about getting on these interviews and constantly changing the narrative. Why is this guy still representing Jordan Willis? I ask you guys that honestly, as a friend. Okay, why is he still doing these interviews? And this is the reason why I'm saying Jordan Willis is not the sharpest tool in the shed. Why? Because this mother lover should have known to fire this lawyer a long time ago. After the first inconsistencies were dropped, he should have said, you're not representing me right. Thank you so much. You got to kick rocks. I don't care if he's a family friend. I don't care if, he plays poker with his dad on Saturday nights. I don't care. This guy should have said, thank you, brother. Bye-bye. It's been real. You need to go. You can't represent me anymore. I don't care if he found him on Temu. Okay? I don't care if he's a Fashion Nova lawyer. I don't give a damn. I don't care if he got it on the free 9s and 9s. Jordan is not being smart with his representation. I'll just say that. Of course, I'd rather, if he's a bad guy, I'd rather have him make these mistakes because it's entertaining. And I love if he is a villain, if he is the bad guy. I love when villains fall apart. That's all fun. We all love to see a train wreck in slow motion, right? Self combust in slow motion. It's a lot of fun when it's very deserving. But if this guy is actually innocent, he's got the wrong person representing him. Now, I want to share with you guys this video, okay? This is the first interview before Paserno jumps on, and it's an interview with Malik Jackson, if I got his last name correct, but he is the reporter that has been covering this out of Kansas City. He has been following this like crazy, understandably. It has become an international story, international mystery. Everyone wants to know what's going on. So, and we've heard him on Banfield, but now he's on Cuomo's show, and he's got a lot of things to say. So let's take a look at this really, really quick. And of course, Tyler, thank you so much for being a member for the past 11 months. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it. You guys, without you guys here, I wouldn't be doing all this stuff. So I do appreciate you guys. Without you, there is no village. Okay. So I appreciate you guys. And so thank you, Tyler, for saying that. But let's take a look at this. And again, I'm still wondering what the heck is going on here too. So let us rock and roll. Hit the number one. Let me know you guys can hear this. Bang.
But does it matter? Is it material? Well, yes, because if you didn't see them leave, that's one thing. If you did see them leave, then it leads to questions of, well, where did you think they were going? Why didn't you go with them, et cetera, et cetera? And the idea that he was unaware for days and not suspicious of what's happening in the backyard, and supposedly as a dog, but the dog was sent to his parents' house or something. Why? Let's bring in the reporter who was first on the scene, looking into these details for Fox 4 KC. Reporter Malik Jackson. Malik, nice to meet you. Thank you for helping me out on this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Chris. We appreciate it.
All right, so now first, am I off in terms of my curiosity? Like, am I getting a wrong read on this, or are we right about the open questions?
I think you're exactly right. There's a lot of open questions, and more importantly, things have been said that don't line up. And so when things don't line up, what are you going to naturally do? Ask more questions. So I think you're right on target with this one.
All right, so in terms of what you're hearing from the authorities about what their assessment is to this point, my understanding is they're still waiting on toxicology. I've been told that that takes a couple of weeks, but I thought that you got like a quick mix, like 1 or 2 days afterwards, that gives them something to go on about cause of death. What are you being told about what they're looking at?
So I spoke on the phone actually with the medical examiner that is dealing with this case. And basically, when there's no obvious signs of foul play, like no gunshot wounds, no stab wounds, it takes longer because they need those toxicology reports. And they have to send them out of state. So it takes 6 to 8 weeks already. But depending on how complex the results are once they get them, it could stretch longer than that 8 weeks. So we are in this waiting period right now, and we really don't know when we're going to have these answers. And at the end of the day, Chris, and I know you understand this, there's 3 families. It's interesting. We don't know what happened. We all want to know, but there's 3 families right now that have no idea how their loved ones are gone. And the idea of having to wait maybe longer than 8 weeks, it's frustrating for them.
Absolutely, it's frustrating. One thing I want to say, though, it's been 3 weeks since they were found gone already. It's been 3 weeks now. So there's another 3 weeks, 3 to 5 more weeks, allegedly, depending on how quickly they went out and did all the toxicology, like sent out the samples and did all that stuff for the toxicology report. So we still got another month, maybe a month and a half, till we actually hear any results to this situation. But I will say this, I mean, those 3 to 5 weeks left is going to fly by pretty fast. I will say that. But I mean, of course, if there's more stories coming out, I mean, if there's, as this story continues to trudge down this very bumpy and inquisitive road, okay, the more information comes out, I mean, it's going to be very, very fascinating to see what transpires. And also, this is odd. It looks like they made a mistake. Looks like they made a mistake. One of the guys is missing in this photo. You know what I mean? In this collage. Interesting. Yeah, that's weird. Weird, right? But anyway, also, I wish they could expedite. Like, I really wish they could expedite and just call it a day. Especially when you have so many people wanting to know what the heck is going on here. You know what I mean?
So what did the 5th guy have to say, who was there but not the whole time? He left. What did he have to say? And Malik, let me know what your 2 biggest open questions are, and I'll put them to the attorney for you afterwards. So what does the 5th guy say? And good on you for getting an interview with him. And what are your questions?
So the 5th guy responded basically saying, because we spoke with Jordan Willis's attorney, John Paserno, on Monday. And when we spoke with him, he told us that Jordan went to sleep. So it was a different story that he said in the statement on Saturday that he released. It was a different story that he told Ashley Banfield hours after we sat down with him. And we have it on tape. He said his client went to sleep and so that these men were still in his house. So when I talked to him, my first question was, well, when you left the house, were they still alive? Were you the last person to see them alive? And he unequivocally said that is untrue. I was not the last person there. I spoke with his attorney, and his attorney told us, he was there until a little after midnight. And when he left, all of these men, all four men, so the three victims and Jordan Willis, they were awake, they were there, and they were watching Jeopardy on TV.
I have a question. Okay. He said he was not the last person there. Now, I'm just throwing the question out here. And I could be absolutely wrong, and I don't want to muddy up the waters like Paserno. Okay. But was there more people there? Were there more people there? Think about it. He just said, think about it for a second. He just said he wasn't the last person to see him alive. He just said it out here, quoting, this reporter was quoting that. Let me roll that back one more time. Now, of course, let me just say this too. I could be digging and it could be nothing, but that is interesting. Could there have been more people there at the house that night? Let me play that piece one more time, and then we're going to continue. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up, because this part sprung out to me earlier when I watched this last night.
That is untrue. I was not the last person there. I spoke with his attorney.
I was not the last person there.
You the last person to see them alive. These men were still in his house with them, and we have it on tape. He said his client went to sleep, and so that these men were still in his house.
Right.
So when I talked to him, my first question was, well, when you left the house, were they still alive? Were you the last person to see them alive? And
he said, were you the last person to see them alive?
He unequivocally said that is untrue. I was not the last person there.
I was not the last person there. The hell does that mean?
Spoke with his attorney, and his attorney.
Okay, sorry, I'm not going to hover onto it too long. I may discuss it later on in another show, but at the same time, I wasn't the last person there. What does that mean? Hold on. I'm sorry. I lied. I'm rolling it back one more time. Okay, sorry. Let me do this one more time, and then we're continuing. I promise.
Them, and we have it on tape. He said his client went to sleep, and so that these men were still in his house. So when I talked to him, my first question was, well, when you left the house, were they still alive? Were you the last person to see them alive? And he unequivocally said that is untrue. I was not the last person.
I was not the last person. Could there have been more people? All right. Yep. Tinfoil hat is on, secured and tight on my head. I could be completely wrong. This could all just be words, semantics, and we could be just I could be just hanging on those syllables, right? This all could be semantics. But that is a bit weird. And I'm curious too. What does he mean by he wasn't the last person? Now, this is only coming from this reporter here, Malik. Let me just repeat that again. This is coming from Malik, the reporter. Now, he could be saying something. He could be misspeaking here. But then again, I don't know. Something to me says maybe there was a bunch of other people there. Maybe there were more people there kicking it. And that's a possibility too. You got to remember, they went to another person's home to kick it, and then they went over to Jordan's home. Why did they go over to Jordan's home? Why? Yes, George of the jungle. Exactly. Malik's question was, were you the last person to see these three men alive? And he said, no, I was not the last person. Is he just saying that it's Jordan was the last person? Or were there other people there? Now, that's the only thing I'm asking, right? He means Jordan was awake with the three guys. And I think that's what it could be too. But I can see how, people could look at that and interpret it into something else. I'm just throwing it out there, okay? But at the same time, I understand that there's been a lot of other people that have been saying that a lot of guys get together, they congregate, and they watch the games together every Sunday. They're religiously getting together and watching the game. So that's interesting. But nonetheless, that is just an interesting question that I had. Let's just continue. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. And I appreciate you guys, talking to me and helping me work through that. Because I heard that. I was like, what does he mean by that? You know what I mean? And it could very well mean exactly what you guys are saying, that, hey, Jordan was literally the last person to see them alive. He was not. That the fifth person, which people are saying out here in these streets, his name. And I say, we don't say his name until the news actually says his name. Okay. But they're saying his name, allegedly saying his name in these streets. He's saying that he was not the last person to see those three men alive. Okay. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Let's continue. But thank you for letting me go through that wrinkle.
I spoke with his attorney, and his attorney told us, he was there until a little after midnight. And when he left, all of these men, all four men, so the three victims and Jordan Willis, they were awake, they were there, and they were watching Jeopardy on TV. My questions are, Chris, at this point are simply, so at first we were told he only received messages through Facebook. Okay. Well, then once we hunted down the person number 5, this mystery man, then that changed, because when we talked to him, he said, yes, through his attorney, that he texted Jordan on Tuesday because he had received text from Clayton McGeeney's fiance and Ricky Johnson's mom. So he had received text. So he inquired to Jordan asking, about the whereabouts.
And
so
those weren't answered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why did you only got a Facebook message, and then now it's, oh, I got text messages? And then my other question, I think it's your question, which is, okay, so did he escort them to the door? Was he asleep? And when did he see them exit? Because the first statement he says, I didn't see them exit the house. Right. And then in the same paragraph, it says, oh, actually, the last time he saw them is when they exited the house.
All right.
Yeah, these are all really, I feel like these are all the questions that we're all wanting to know, right? We want transparency, we want accuracy, and it's frustrating because we got a lawyer that's out here just talking crazy. And I love how he said sleep. I just had to say that out loud. That made me smile. Was he asleep? That made me so happy. I was like, yeah, okay, all right. Okay, you a reporter, but you a reporter. Okay, but you're a street reporter. All right, let me roll that back just a little bit. But I do appreciate him asking those questions. Real talk.
Person number 5, this mystery man, then that changed, because when we talked to him, he said, yes, through his attorney, that he texted Jordan on Tuesday because he had received text from Clayton McGeeney's fiance and Ricky Johnson's mom. So he had received text. So he inquired to Jordan asking, about the whereabouts.
And those weren't answered.
Exactly. Yeah. So why did you only got a Facebook message, and then now it's, oh, I got text messages? And then my other question, I think it's your question, which is, okay, so did he escort them to the door? Was he asleep? And when did he see them exit? Because the first statement he says, I didn't see them exit the house. And then in the same paragraph, it says, oh, actually, the last time he saw them is when they exited the house.
All right.
Yeah. Why you keep moving the goalposts, baby? Why you keep on moving the goalposts, dagnabbit? And that's exactly what he's doing. It's, oh no, it was this, and it was this. No, it was this thing. And then no, I was asleep, and then I was awake. Make up your doggone mind. Stick to one story and stay with it. Figure out what your story is and stay with it. Okay? If that's going to be the hill you're going to die on that hill. But just make sure you die with your boots on. All right?
So, and I'm going to go to break, but I just want to ask you this. I'll talk to the lawyer on the other side of the break. But did the guy number 5 give you any indication of how hard they were partying and what they were doing?
Yeah.
No, he didn't give us any indication of that. And when we talked to his attorney, when I talked to Paserno, that is a question that no one seems to want to answer. What were they doing? Were there drugs involved? How much alcohol was involved? Those are just questions that at this point we haven't been able to get the answers to. But, you know, as we've done all along, if you don't tell us, guess what? We're going to go out there and we're going to find them.
Damn right. He ain't wrong. They're gonna dig until finally the truth comes out. I mean, if you keep playing games like this, people are going to start investigating and people are going to start talking. There's been a lot of stuff and people have been deep diving into Jordan and putting out information about him on the internet, which I don't know if it's true or not. So I keep that at bay, but it is very interesting allegations being said about Jordan Willis, about his like personal records and stuff like that. That's crazy, right? But you know, when he talks about friend number 5, okay, Johnny number 5, okay, even he is being very vague about the part of what were they doing at the house aside from playing video games and watching Jeopardy, if there were any type of party favors involved in this late Sunday night get together. You got to remember, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Ain't no way they are going and doing the Lord's work at 2:00 in the morning on a Sunday night. Okay? Ain't no way they are doing the Lord's work. Ain't no way they are drinking Perrier and reading the scripture on a Sunday at 1:30, 2:00 in the doggone morning. Okay? Ain't no way. All right? So clearly something was going on. Even if it was binge drinking, even if it was just drinking in general and they're rolling little doobies and all that stuff, it doesn't matter. Ain't no way they were talking about, I don't know, reminiscing about Boy Scouts or something. I'm sorry. They were not doing that, okay? They were not having a jam session, you know, playing their greatest Grateful Dead hits or something like that. I don't know. Do people listen to Grateful Dead anymore? I don't know. No disrespect, but you know, okay? Like, come on. Miss me with that nonsense, all right? We all know what was going on. At this point, we all can agree that they were doing some stuff and it was probably illegal. Or, you know, some illegal, some not illegal. You know what I'm saying? You take your pick on what you want to conjure up for them, okay, and what they were doing. But they were definitely not reading the doggone good book, okay? They were definitely not doing the Lord's work. So, of course, you know, Malik has been doing a fantastic job out in Kansas City covering this case. I mean, he's been breaking the case as much as he can. And of course, you know, getting that interview with the 5th guy and all that, it's very interesting. And of course, I still have a lot of questions. My question is, who provided, if there were actual narcotics at the party, who was actually the one who provided the party favors? Who came in with the fun? You know, who did that? Then, of course, I understand that they can't really say much as far as that goes because they don't want to incriminate themselves and all that. But I'm still wondering because there are rumors being thrown out here about number 5. Okay. No, Johnny 5 disassemble. Anyway, sorry, that was just in my head, but I had to get it out of my head. But this 5th guy, right? There's rumors about him like providing, like he was the one holding and all that. But it's a rumor. There's no confirmation of that whatsoever. All right. So we got to just kind of sit and wait for them to come out with more stuff. But I have to say this, okay, before we go into this interview. I love how it's frozen on this, but this is kind of how I see the dude right now. You know, this guy is keeping this whole case alive. Thanks to Paserno. Thank you so much to Paserno. He's the one who's making this. He's the one who's keeping this alive. Because as soon as I'm like, okay, he's done. Wait, no, there's more. It just doesn't stop. Okay? He done. He needs to stop. He needs to time out. Dude needs to stop. Okay, homie, just, game off. Okay, no games onies. Just stop. Stop, homie. But this dude, all right, keeps coming back and just taking that defibrillator, and he's like, clear lies. I'm telling you, holy God. Okay. I think we're done. He keeps dragging us back in, but I got more bull. I got more BS for you guys. Come on back in. The water's just fine. Okay? So as soon as we think he's done, he's back at it again. On Cuomo. This is a new one. This came out last night. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. And the funny thing is Cuomo knows what he's doing. His team even knows what they're doing, because they even post this ish on Twitter and on the YouTubes, because they know for a fact people are watching this. And they're going, dude is back on again? What does he want to say now? Oh, what he says is crazy here. We got to take a look at this. And I call BS all over this mother lover. Okay? Oh my God, it's annoying. This man needs to get fired. And the funny thing is I want so badly, if this guy is a bad guy, if Jordan did all this stuff, I want him to crash and burn so hard. But at the same time, this is so bad. It's like, like when you see somebody who thinks they can really sing, and then they're singing and it sounds like nails on a chalkboard and screaming cats, and you're just like, they're doing it in public and they're so proud, and you're like, oh no, no, just stop. It's like that to me right now. Just stop. Just for your own benefit, just stop. Stop it, John. Stop it, John. But he still keeps coming back and talking more BS. Okay, let me get this out. Have mercy, okay? But, oh my Lord. Do me a favor, though. Okay, if you're enjoying the conversation, do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. And yes, S-Dubs, thank you. Let's get it to 800 likes. I see a bunch of y'all in here. A like don't cost a thing. You guys are just so enthralled, so sucked into this conversation that you're forgetting to hit that like button. So I'm just going to kindly remind you, hit that like button. Okay, I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. All right, your boy's working hard out here in these streets. So just do that. All right, we're going to get into this interview. And I'm telling you right now, have mercy. Like I said, it's like, okay, this is the last one, right? Okay. You turn off your computer. Wait, he's got more. There's more. Yes, there's more. Let's take a look at this. And yes, Nicole, I appreciate you. You forgot. You're like, I'm so just enamored. You're just so enamored about how I tell this story that you just totally forget to just simply pick your finger up and hit that like button. I'm sure it burns like a fraction of a calorie, but give it a shot. Okay, Nicole? And everybody else who's just that moved by my storytelling. I appreciate it. It's hard out here for a pimp. Moving on. Let's get into this, shall we?
Is where the bodies were found. Counsel Paserno, it's good to have you again.
Back at it again.
This is not new criticism for you, but I do want you to clear it up for the audience. There is a suggestion that there have been inconsistent statements from your client through you and by him. How so? One, either he went to sleep and doesn't know what happened after he went to sleep, or he remembers them saying they were leaving and watching them leave. Which is it?
It's the latter. And I'm glad that the other people caught my typo, and I apologize. The initial press statement was actually read by 3 different people and we missed it. And in the very first paragraph, there's one sentence that says he does nor does he know how or when they exited his house. And then a few sentences later, it specifically says the last time he saw them was when they left his house and he went to sleep on the couch. So obviously those two statements are inconsistent. Those two things could not have happened. That was pilot error. What is in there at the end is what Jordan told me. And I think at the time I used the word bed, which was an inartful way for me to say he went to sleep. I think I said he went to bed, which wasn't true either. So absolutely right. That's from the very first letter. I have in there exactly what he told me and what happened.
I got it. So here's the question. If he saw them leave, the whole point is that they're leaving, right? Nobody was saying they were going to sleep over. They wind up in the backyard, and one of them at least doesn't have a coat. So that's inconsistent with leaving and, with them just winding up in the backyard. Where did he think they were going, and what does he think of the fact that one of them didn't have a coat?
Let me just say this. Remember, I talked about this yesterday's show. Cuomo is now saying it with his own mouth right now, that there was a guy in the backyard, sans jacket, gone, passed away without a jacket on. Allegedly, the jacket was inside the house. So riddle me this, Batman. How would he not know his friends were in the backyard, perished? Or how would he not know, right? How would he not know that his friends are in the backyard, perished, if one of the guys' coats is inside the house? He wouldn't sit there and go, oh, that's Ricky's jacket. Oh, that's David's jacket. Are they still here? Let's not forget about the allegedly cell phones being in the house as well. You're telling me the cell phones were inside and you didn't sit there and go, oh, that's Clayton's cell phone. What the hell? The cars are outside. Two of them, at least. 2 cars are outside. They're still here. The hell? Let me check on them and see if everything's okay. In fact, if the phones were still on the next day and he was concerned for their safety, just even, and he tries to text one of them or call one of them, he would have heard the cell phone buzz or ding or something, some notification, some noise would go off, and you'd be like, wait a second, they're right here. His cell phone's right here. What the hell's going on here? And I'd be searching up and down every nook and cranny of my home, in the front of the house, the back of the house, underneath the doggone house if I have to, because something doesn't make any sense. But now you're hearing it from Cuomo himself. Like I said, he said it out loud that one of the guys did not have a jacket on when they were found froze to their demise in the backyard of this man's house. Come on. And let me tell you something really quick before we continue on, okay? Because I know some people, I'll be real, okay? I don't know what's up with some people. Some of y'all, it'll be like negative 17 degrees out here, and y'all still walking out like you trying out for a volleyball team. I'm being dead ass. Some of y'all wearing these shorts and T-shirts and all that, and you're going, oh, it's comfortable. This is wonderful. I don't know what the hell's wrong with y'all, okay? Layer up because it's cold as hell outside. But even in this kind of cold, you're telling me that this guy was out here chilling without his coat on? And he didn't think for 1 second to knock on the door, bust a window open, hop the fence, go to a next door neighbor's home, something just so he can get some heat, so he can get some warmth? Like I said, this is not mathing right at all, guys. Okay? Yes, P. Cooper, he's like, yeah, we do that in the UK. Yeah, something's wrong with y'all. It's cold. When it's cold, it's supposed to be cold. Look, layer up, okay? Layer up. But anyway, I think that's really interesting.
We never discussed where he thought they were going, but there's nothing that's inconsistent with them leaving. They could have went out there. It was very icy and cold that night. They could have gotten their, I don't know how many cars they came in. There were 3 of them, and there were only 2 cars left on the street. They could have decided they wanted to go back inside his house for some reason. People leave the house all the time without coats. It doesn't matter how cold it is. So I can't, answer to that statement. he doesn't know what happened to them, and he never saw them again at the point that they were walking towards the front door and leaving his house.
So if all of that is true, there is still a question. This has to be about drugs.
Yep.
If it, or, booze, drugs, whatever it is. Because if they're not shot and they're not stabbed and they're all dead, it just strains common sense to believe they could have wound up in this predicament if it wasn't done to them without drugs. It is the elephant in the room. What is the position of your client?
As I told you last night, Chris, I'm not in a position to comment on that at this time for a variety of reasons, not just on behalf of Jordan. And when and if the toxicology report comes out and when we get it, I'd certainly be happy to comment on it at that time. I'm not going to speculate about the activity and the behavior of other people who were not in the presence of my client at some point in time that evening or early morning hours.
And look, we both understand the dilemma, okay? If the tox comes out and they had whatever it is in it that makes this a more understandable situation, he's now going to be chasing his responsibility as opposed to being in front of it and owning what happened that night. And one of those is a much more satisfying thing in terms of credibility. You're aware that that is the dilemma here.
No, I don't see it that way. And, he has an attorney and I'm representing his best interest. And he did nothing wrong. And that's what we're saying. That's what we're maintaining. And that's what we're going to say, no matter what comes back in that autopsy report.
Right. Well, something's going to come back. And I will give you a platform at that time and we'll discuss it because things just never don't make sense. Eventually, it will make sense and responsibility will lie where it does, and we'll take it to its logical conclusion.
And he's right. Obviously, eventually, all this stuff, the toxicology report, the autopsy report, all that stuff that will be coming out, it will come out no matter what. Even though we're sitting here going, it couldn't come soon enough, it still will show up. And they will still give us some information about something that will be either exactly what we expected or it'll be shocking as all get out. And of course, he's right that homeboy, Jordan, with his watered down Kenny Loggins, that's so funny. They're going to have to answer to any of those questions. Because it's not like I said before, and I mean this with all the respect in my heart, all right? This is not like God just decided to turn their switches off at the same time out of nowhere, like they just got unplugged from the Matrix. There's just no way on God's green earth that these guys just got deleted like that simultaneously out of nowhere. This ain't aliens, okay? This has nothing to do with extraterrestrial type of workings, okay? And it's most definitely not in the hands of the Lord's work if you're a God-loving person. All right. This is something where something sinister happened, whether it's from something being laced or being done by the hands of Jordan or even the fifth dude. Let's not forget the fifth dude was there and he's pushing back on Jordan's narrative as well. But again, we can't omit or not take off the table the fact that there was a fifth other person there, and that fifth person's still alive, y'all. That fifth person is still alive. Let's not forget that. Okay? That's weird. Then also the other thing is, apparently they went to watch the game at the fifth person's house. So why did they go over to Jordan's house then? If they were hopping around and then they ended up at the fifth person's house, and then they decided to, why would they decide to go over to Jordan's of all places? That's one thing I'm still wondering about too. Unless he had the video game console or he has some wonderful toys. I don't know. Okay. Unless he was holding and it was all over at his house. That's the only other thing I can think of as well. I don't know. Something's just not right. But it's still, you got to look at the fifth person too. Let's not forget that. I'm not sitting here saying that Jordan's in the clear. Hell to the no. That's not the case at all. All right. Jordan's by far in the clear because of this guy. Isn't Kenny Loggins the song "Know When to Hold 'Em, Know When to Fold 'Em"? He doesn't know when to fold 'em. Ain't that Kenny Loggins? Ain't that Kenny Loggins? The same story here. He needs to know when to count his chips and get the F off the table. Funny because when he was interviewed with Malik, he was sitting at that's Kenny Rogers. Never mind. But Kenny Loggins, Kenny Rogers. Same doggone thing. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyway, he should know when to fold him. All right. At this point. All right. My bad. I don't know my country music. Okay. I don't know my country music.
John Paserno, thank you very much for being with us
Chris,
again. Yes.
I would like to address those the phone calls and the text messages if I could, since the reporter left that hanging out there.
Go ahead, because the initial suggestion was he only got a Facebook message and nobody was really trying to get him. Malik says that's not true because the fifth friend says that he was getting messages and he was trying to find him and he wasn't getting his messages answered either. So what is it?
So I have sent your staff the records, his phone records, which I acquired this afternoon, and also the text message records. And during that period of time, the phone calls that came in on the early morning hour after the game on the 7th and the early morning hours of the 8th, all the way to the 8th, and then all the way to the 9th when the police came, the only calls that came in were one from his dad, which we recognize the number, and you have the actual numbers. Mm-hmm. And then the other calls, there were 8 of them that came in from what is a dummy number. He has a robo killer app on his phone. And so when calls come in that are unrecognized or for whatever reason, they read as this dummy number. I've dialed this dummy number myself. It's a non-existent number. You get a message saying whatever. It's a dummy number. And then the only other call that came in was all zeros, a call that he blocked again from a RoboCop.
What about text?
The text message?
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. First off, all right. Phone numbers. Let me just say this. And I'm going to say it again in a second, though, too. I feel I'm going to repeat myself, but I don't care. One, this is something that he's getting from his client. You're telling me that this client, Jordan, doesn't know how to doctor documents, cut out phone numbers to make it seem like he didn't receive any phone calls? I mean, of course, if there's a court order, if law enforcement, wants to get his court, his call logs and his text messages and all that, they can get their hands on it, right? So there's a possibility that he could have just been giving him some doctored crap, giving this to his lawyer and saying, yeah, this is exactly the call logs. These are exactly the text messages. So he can manipulate this all he wants. For now, at least, until 5-0 goes, all right, we need a warrant for your phone, and we need so we can get your whole history. There's a way to do that. I mean, that's what I feel is going to happen. All right. Because I really don't think that the families out here are lying. They still did knock on the doors. They still did break into his home to find one of the men perished on the porch. That's a huge piece. So whether they were calling him like crazy or not, there was still some sort of contact being made, attempts at contacting this guy. You'll hear it in a second, but these call logs and him saying, oh, he's got a robocall. Like, it's all this technical BS, moving the goalpost type of stuff. Like I said before, he's trying to make it seem like, oh, it was the wind that did all this. It's trash.
Really, yeah. As far as the text messages go, what you have, there are a series of incoming text messages. That's all we have.
Series of text messages. Series of text messages. Oh, and it gets even crazier. The stuff that comes out this man's mouth to try to make it seem like his client is anywhere near innocent. is beyond me. Take a listen to this. He says a series of text messages. So that means people were contacting him and he was receiving those text messages. But listen to this BS. This is when he turns into a lawyer, a shiesty lawyer, in my personal opinion.
There are no outgoing text messages. So the corollary to that, what goes along with what makes sense to that is when you and I get a text message, typically we're going to respond. If somebody texts you and says, hey, these 3 guys are missing, and they're your friend, you're going to respond. If Alex had said, if someone had said to him.
That's interesting. He just said, if Alex was to shoot, if someone, okay.
The text message came in, why don't you respond? You would respond to your friend, right? That's what you would do.
Maybe.
And let's be real. Cuomo's not wrong. Maybe if I'm trying to cover something, up, I may not text that person back. Okay. I may not. I may see the text message, but I ain't going to respond. I don't have to respond. It's my right if I want to respond and all. But I can see that the text messages are coming in.
The reporter wanted to twist my words when I said he didn't receive any messages. And technically I'm right. His phone received the messages. If you don't look at it, you did not receive the messages. I guess I should have said he didn't read the messages. And yes, as far as the text message from his friend, he did not tell me about that. And when I was informed of that, I asked him about that. And then he told me that's right. So there's 2 text messages, or excuse me, a Facebook message and a text message. And neither one he got before the police arrived at his home.
Hold on. Exactly, Penny, for your thoughts. Lord have mercy. The what? Do you realize how all over the place he was with what he just said? He's like birdshot. He's everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay? Okay, so real quick. Sorry. What? We're going to roll that back again, but is he saying that his client, Jordan, is acknowledging that his friend, he even said Alex, by the way, which, by the way, his name has not been dropped. But he did say the fifth guy's name. Okay? He did say the 5th guy's name, which is interesting. But nonetheless, and then he caught himself and he's like, well, was somebody you text? Is he saying that Jordan is saying, yes, Alex, or, this 5th guy did actually text him or not? That's one piece I'm trying to understand, because he's all over the place in this situation. This is the wildest crash and burn I've ever seen, conducted by a lawyer who's not even guilty. I'm sorry, but he's not even the one on the chopping block. It's his client. Okay, let me keep playing, and I'm going to roll it back again, this part, because this part is all over the place.
All right.
But the phone records that you have are consistent with him. If you look at them, the calls were early in the morning.
Yeah, we have
his
them.
dad called at noon and he picked up. He didn't pick up any in the morning. He didn't pick up any in the evening when he would have been sleeping. There were no other phone calls. And the text messages, the same way. There's no outgoing text messages those 2 days.
Right.
Which, as you know, who can stay off their phone for 2 days straight unless you're principally sleeping it out of it and you don't have your phone around you? So everything is consistent with what he's saying. And again, one last thing.
Go ahead.
He purchased Kansas City Chiefs playoff tickets.
Who cares?
For the team the next week, because we didn't know who it was going to be. I have those tickets.
Who cares? I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. He could have bought Bentleys for every single guy. Okay? He could have been like, yeah, I started a whole, I have a huge gift for every single one of these guys. It doesn't matter. Death came upon these 3 men. Whether it was planned or not, it doesn't matter. Whether this was an honest accident, that he did not want anything ill will to come upon his friends, it still happened. I don't give a damn if he bought tickets to them to fly out to Dubai. I don't give a damn. These men are still gone. It doesn't show any type of innocence. It doesn't. Who cares? Who cares? Stop saying that. It doesn't matter. That's not an alibi. That is most definitely not an alibi. Who lawyer is this? What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis? Damn. Let me let him finish his BS. Oh my dear God.
Okay? Who does that? If they're going to harm 3 or 4 of their very best friends and they're no longer planning on them being there.
I get it.
I mean, the conspiracy theories are just ridiculous. Who harms someone and leaves them in their backyard?
I get it. I get
Others
it.
to find them.
In a vacuum of what is known, people fill it in to satisfy their frustration with the unknown.
I appreciate it.
It's just, I'm just not one of them. So as we get the facts, we'll go along and eventually it'll make sense. John Pacerno.
Let me tell you something. You can see it in Cuomo's face. He don't believe any of this ish. Okay? He got a BS meter too. And it's off. It's the freaking needle is falling off the damn thing. You gotta be kidding me with this whole, he was gonna get, who cares? Do you know how many guys and how many people have planned a romantic trip or something like that, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere they go and they take their loved ones' lives? We've heard that story a million times. All of us in the true crime world, all of us wearing our true crime hats right now, we've heard those kind of stories. Oh, they had plans to do something, but something sinister happened. You know what I mean? Plenty of those things happen. Just because you buy tickets to a football game the following weekend does not show your innocence. It is most definitely not an alibi. You are on something if you think that is something that's going to be like, oh, you bought tickets? Oh, okay, then that's fine. Yeah, he innocent. No, it's not. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Let me roll this back because this is some crazy stuff. He does confirm that there were several text messages that this man received, but then he moves the goalpost again and he says, no, but he didn't read them. He received them, but he didn't read them. Sure, you could get 100 text messages in over a weekend, but does it mean that you're actually going to open up your phone and read the text messages? You can even see the look on Cuomo's face. He's like, man, miss me with this nonsense. Miss me with this BS. I'll play it. But let's just go into the text message part because the phone calls, he's like, yeah, robocalls, because of robocalls. Excuses, 101. Then he takes it up a notch with these text messages. And he says he did receive text messages. So family is not lying. They reached out to him. They most definitely reached out to him. It's this lawyer's decision to come out here and talk about this stuff. And he does say that from my understanding, it sounds like he's saying, Alex, that Jordan did in fact receive messages and calls from the 5th person. That's how I take it. I'm going to play it one more time for you guys and you tell me, okay? And you tell me what you think.
The records, his phone records, which I acquired this afternoon, and also the text message records. And during that period of time, the phone calls that came in,
When we go past
numbers.
this.
And then the other calls, there were 8 of them that came in from what is a dummy number. He has a
Hold on.
numbers. Calls that came in were 1 from his dad,
One from
which
Papa.
you recognize the number, and you have the actual numbers. And then the other calls, there were 8 of them that came in from what is a dummy number.
So he's saying over the past 48 hours to 50 hours, he was receiving phone calls from robocalls. And only one of them that came through was his actual father calling. Huh? Okay.
He has a robo killer app on his phone.
Such
and
BS.
So when calls come in that are unrecognized or for whatever reason, they read as this dummy number. I've dialed this dummy number myself. It's a non-existent number. You get a message saying whatever. It's a dummy number. And then the only other call that came in was all zeros, a call that he blocked again from a robocop.
What
as far
about
as
text?
the text message?
Yeah.
Yeah. As far
robocalls. I think he misspoke here because he was in the mindset of talking about text messages, and I think he really meant robocalls. But now he's going into text messages, which are not robo text messages. Okay, these are actual real text messages from multiple phone numbers that this guy received, and he confirms it right here.
as far as the text messages go, what you have, there are a series of incoming text messages. That's all we have.
A series of incoming text messages. Who could all those text messages be from? I wonder.
There are no outgoing text messages. So
no outgoing text messages means that he did not respond to the text messages. And also, I will say this. There's a way to actually read text messages without actually having to read the text messages. There's a way to read the text messages without actually having to read the text messages. Just saying, guys.
the corollary to that, what goes along with what makes sense to that is when you and I get a text message, typically we're going to respond. If somebody texts you and says, hey, these 3 guys are missing, and they're your friend, you're going to respond. If Alex had said, if someone had said to him, the text message came in, why don't you respond? You would respond to your friend, right? That's what you would do.
Maybe.
I agree. It's maybe. Maybe. It depends on if I want to talk to that person or not. There's selective texting as well. Some people, it's like, I'll get back to them in a second. Okay, I'll leave this unread. But I saw it. I can read it, right? I know what they're saying, but I'll leave it unread so I can get back to it a little bit later. I'm knee deep in work or whatever the hell it is, right? Or yeah, you're trying to cover up something that happened in your house.
The reporter wanted to twist my words when I said he didn't receive any messages. And technically I'm right. His phone received the messages. If you don't look at it, you did not receive the messages. I guess I should have said he didn't read the messages. And yes, as far as the text message from his friend, he did not tell me about that. And
remember, he says, as far as it comes to his friend texting him, person number 5, he said, my client did not tell me about person number 5 contacting him. So it's saying to me that indeed he did receive text messages, and he knows he received text messages from his buddy that was there before these guys passed away.
when I was informed of that, I asked him about that. And then he told me that's right. So there.
That's right. The way I see that's right, the way I interpret that's right is he knew. He knew that the guy number 5 did contact him. He's saying, that's right, he did contact me. So you knew. You see what I'm saying here? So you knew. Because it's not like your boy, number 5, is hitting you up just to shoot the ish. He's hitting you up specifically for a reason at this point. Hey, the families are hitting me up and asking about the fellas. Have you seen them? Yo, such and such's fiance just hit me up asking about where he is. Have you seen him? So he's not hitting him up being like, yeah, go Chiefs. How was last night? It was crazy. Still hungover. He's not texting him about that. He's contacting him to find out where his friends are. And if he had seen them, are they still crashing at the house? So on and so forth. This is the problem. This is, in my personal opinion, where this lawyer, he's been screwing the pooch this entire time, okay? He's been destroying this whole thing. But this right here shows me that Jordan is lying. And we just caught it, in my personal opinion, that number 5, mysterious guy number 5, was indeed in contact or at least Jordan is saying he did receive text messages from number 5. That's how I take it. And then that he was ignoring all the other text messages. So for me, this makes things look sus as hell. Again, this lawyer is not helping Jordan. Not at all. This is my personal opinion. Now, I know a lot of people can be looking at this and saying, "Oh, this is definitely, semantics, and you can flip it and make it sound like it's something else, and you might be misinterpreting that and all that." I'm going to roll that back, that little piece, one more again, and you tell me what you hear, because I hear him saying, "That's right. That yes, Alex, F it, number 5 guy, indeed was in contact." And he knows about it. Let me roll that back.
And yes, as far as the text message from his friend, he did not tell me about that. And when I was informed of that, I asked him about that. And then he told me that's right. So there's 2 text messages, or excuse me, a Facebook message and a text message. And neither one he got before the police arrived at his home.
All right.
But the phone records that you have are consistent with him. If you look at them,
did you see what he did? Did you see what he did? Did you see how quickly he switched lanes? Let me roll that back one more time. Notice that he switched lanes right about here. I'll tell you.
and yes, as far as the text message from his friend,
From number
he
5.
did not tell me about that. And when I was informed of that, I asked him about that. And then he told me that's right.
He said, that's right. But watch, he switches lanes right about here.
So there's 2 text messages, or excuse me, a Facebook message and a text message.
Right here.
And neither one he got before the police arrived at his home.
All right.
But
do you see what he just did? Did you see what he just did? He says, yes, that's right. Number 5 did contact me and send me text messages. He did. So technically, he did receive those text messages, but he didn't see them until after the police showed up. Do you see that? I'm sorry, but this whole thing is like they're trying to do a Kansas City shuffle. How fitting, right? Where everyone looks left and then they go right type of thing. He's trying to do a Kansas City shuffle. This is ridiculous. Again, he says, that's right. Dude did contact me. Oh, but I didn't see those text messages. Those 2 text messages, a message from Facebook and a text message from number 5, until after the cops showed up while he's in his skivvies holding a empty wine glass, trying to be a Midwestern broke ass Hugh Hefner. Someone explain that to me. He just switched lanes real quick. I'm sorry. I just saw that. Personally, I saw that. Now that could be, I could be crazy and deranged. I don't give a damn. That's how I interpret this. Because for a fact this lawyer knows a lot more information than what he's letting off. And sure, let's be real. This could also be a possibility where his client is not telling him the full truth all the time. And then he keeps changing the story. But see, that's the problem. If you have a client like that, that's when you don't go on Cuomo and start talking wireless on the mic. You just don't. You keep your mouth shut and you go, hey, son, you're going to come meet me at my office, or maybe his office is a Starbucks. I don't know. But we're going to meet in my office and you're going to tell me exactly what's going down. And you're going to keep saying it until you get it down verbatim by rote. That's what is supposed to be happening. But if his client, allegedly, if this is what he's saying, if his client is constantly changing the story every time he sits down with him, every time they have a phone call or a text message discussion about this, if he keeps changing it like that, this is when you need to sit down and get down to brass tacks with your client and saying, hey, you're destroying not only just your name out here in these streets, but mine as well. So let's get this right. Let's get this fully right. So Johnny number 5 was at the party or at the hangout. He left. He did text Jordan Jordan confirms this later, allegedly, from this lawyer, from Paserno. Okay? He says yes. He confirms that number 5 contacted him. All right, bet. But now he's saying it wasn't until after the cops showed up did he see those text messages. Again, he says something and you could see it in his eyes. Damn, I done mucked this up. And he tries to switch lanes. He tries to give us the Kansas City shuffle. Let me continue on because he says more BS right after this, which of course I got some pushback for.
The phone records that you have are consistent with him. If you look at them, the calls were early in the morning.
Yeah,
and
we
then
have
his
them.
dad called at noon and he picked up. He didn't pick up any in the morning. He didn't pick up any in the evening when he would have been sleeping.
What time in the evening? What time in the evening? That's what I'd like to know. How early in the morning, too? How early in the morning and how late in the evening, or when was the evening time? Because if you're sitting here saying that this guy goes to bed at like 7 o'clock at night, you lying. If he has that regular 9-to-5 job, there ain't no, unless he's like training for a marathon, okay, where he has to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning just so he can get his miles in. I doubt that this is a guy that's doing that. So let's keep it a full on being here. If they called it 6 p.m., 9 p.m., it doesn't matter. Phone calls were being made. Text messages were sent out. A series of text messages. I'm sure throughout the whole day, we're sitting here going, hey, I need to find out what's going on. I just need to know what's going on. Where's my son? Where's my brother? Where's my boyfriend? Whatever. People were sending out text messages. So you're telling me he didn't go and look at his phone at all? And it's funny because he says something here in just a second that is ridiculous. But what time did they call? What time did family members call in the morning? How early and how late in the evening? Those are the questions that need to be answered, because you could sit here and say all day long that the dude was sleeping. But was he sleeping all day? All day, every day? Was he passed out for 48 hours straight?
There were no other phone calls. And the text messages, the same way, there's no outgoing text messages those 2 days.
Right.
Which, as you know, who can stay off their phone for 2 days straight unless you're principally sleeping it out of it and you don't have your phone around you?
Okay. He just exposed another thing. Another part that I have, a problem with. He's like, who would just, who would just not respond to their text messages and all that? It's for 2 days and all that. I don't know. You better ask your client, because it's your client that didn't respond to those text messages, and that's claiming that he didn't read the text messages. Come on, guys. Come on. And I get it. You could be selective texting. I don't want to respond to that. What text message? What is that? Putting it down. But eventually you got to go back to it. Eventually you're going to look. Everyone's phone is attached to literally attached to their hip. It's like a third appendage, for crying out loud. Or not third. What am I saying? It's like a fifth limb. Okay. It's attached to us. It's our livelihood. If we are detached from our phones, it feels like we just lost our babies. So why would this guy not respond to anything for days? There's a couple possibilities, but like I said, those possibilities are it's questionable. It's questionable. The only thing I could think of is he was on a bender. And all he was doing was just, tooting it up, or, snorting it up and doing whatever he was doing. Or just drinking. That could be it too. Or he didn't respond to any of the text messages because he was freaking out because his friends were gone in the backyard. Those are other options here. But you can't tell me he just asked the same question that I'm sure that Cuomo, and this is the worst freeze frame for Cuomo, but I'm sure it's the same question that Cuomo and a lot of other people are wondering as well. SW said, my hubby doesn't, not everyone, my hubby doesn't look at his. Now, if he doesn't look at his, that's fine. But eventually he goes back and looks at it. And maybe your husband is just an anomaly. But everyone receives text messages, everyone looks at them. That's just how things are. That's just how the world works. And if you're getting a series, because to me that sounds like multiple or several text messages from people, eventually you're going to want to look at those just to see if it's like a robo text, like a telemarketing text kind of thing, anything of that sort. You're going to want to look at those because you're going to be like, wait a second, that's my area code. That's my area code. Okay, I wonder what that is. Sometimes it's a text message from the local bar that you go to. Hey, come in. We got a happy hour at such and such. Maybe it's that. I don't know. But eventually you still look at your text messages. He's corresponding with his friends before this through his phone. That's why he has a phone in the first doggone place. And if he's a single guy, I'm sure he's out here using Tinder and all that stuff. Using dating apps and everything. Okay? So you're telling me he doesn't use his phone? Then why he got a phone? Might as well just keep it a landline and just keep it analog. So again, this guy asks a question that he should be asking himself. He should be asking his client that. Because it doesn't make sense. Why would he? Why wouldn't he pick up his phone? Why wouldn't he look at his phone? If you got several text messages and people are contacting you for days, 48 hours plus, and you don't respond to any of those things, where were you during that whole time? Why weren't you near your phone? Which you know for a fact is a lie. Okay? Unless my phone is charging, my phone is always with me at all times, for crying out loud. For the most part, unless I'm asleep. But you can't tell me that this guy was passed out asleep for 48 hours straight. That's insane. So for him to ask these kind of questions is like, damn right. Those are the questions you should be asking your own client, for crying out loud.
Phone for 2 days straight, unless you're principally sleeping it out of it and you don't have your phone around you.
And again, if he's sleeping or out of it the entire time. And then another thing, how convenient that every single time that people were calling him, he happened to be asleep. So when people were calling him and texting him, he just happens to be asleep the entire time. Ding. Like this suddenly, I'm asleep. Like what? Could be noon. It could be 2:00 in the afternoon. He's asleep. Come on, guys. 48. Yeah, exactly, Natasha. Exactly, Natasha. 48 hours? It's BS, y'all. He's not helping his client. Okay? He is not.
So everything is consistent with what he's saying. And again,
everything's not consistent. It is not consistent. Shut up.
Yeah.
One last thing.
Go ahead.
He purchased Kansas City Chiefs playoff tickets.
We already talked about that. Okay. He bought tickets, and who gives a flying thud about that? No one cares. No one cares. It does not build an alibi. Oh, he had a heart of gold for that one moment, and then something happened, and now he's trying to cover his tracks. But I bought tickets for my friends. Who cares? They still gone. They still about to be 6 feet under. Who cares? Like the Taylor Swift stuff. Who cares? Who cares? Okay. Who cares? But who cares that he bought tickets? But I bought them drinks last night. Who cares, man? They were found gone in your backyard. One of them allegedly did not have a jacket on. Apparently, allegedly, phones were inside your house. A coat was inside your house. Several text messages were sent to you that you did not respond to. You didn't respond to them, but you did receive them. You definitely got some sort of correspondence from guy number 5. You confirmed that as well. So you knew something was going on, but now you didn't know what was going on until after the cops showed up. Let's not forget, he was wearing earbuds allegedly. He had a loud, large fan in his wherever he was sleeping at, so he didn't hear people pounding on the door. People went up, not just one person. People went up to the house pounding on the door. So you didn't hear anybody pounding on the door for the first time. Then the second time, you didn't hear somebody pounding on the door. And then you didn't hear somebody breaking into your house, screaming inside the house. Didn't hear any of that. But as soon as you hear whoop, whoop, ding dong, oh, cops are here, suddenly you're fully alert and know exactly what's going on. Now you know police are here. Now you give a damn. Again, math ain't mathin', y'all. Math ain't mathin'. And the more this lawyer gets on to interviews, the more he's destroying everything for Jordan. I feel like this feels like he's a buddy or that he's a family friend, and he's just taking on this case for the sake of Jordan or for a favor for his father or something like that. But there's something that's not right here either. And you know for a fact, if Jordan was smart, and if he's watching this show right now, Jordan, you need to tell your lawyer to shut the hell up. You need to tell your lawyer to stop going into these interviews. Not until you have a full breakdown, ironclad story, because your story keeps changing. This is not good. He could very well be innocent, guys. I hate to say that. He could really be innocent. We have to keep that on the table because it's innocent till proven guilty. And of course, also, this ain't even a case right now. They're not even looking at this as a homicide. They're not looking at this as foul play. So right now, it's only the court of public opinion right now. So this guy could very well be innocent. But this person who calls himself a lawyer is going out here and destroying everything that this guy is maybe trying to hold onto, which is his reputation. His reputation is getting destroyed right now. And like I said, if he's the bad guy and if he really did this and all that, then hey, so be it. I'm here for the crash and burn. It's exciting to see bad guys take it on the chin, right? But if he's innocent, this man is building a brand new road of speculation and conspiracies. And it's a super highway, all right? That it's not a dirt road, or he has built a highway of just crazy conspiracies. He's making a lane, a brand new one, because he's not helping the situation, he's hindering it. And that's a problem. This is not how you lawyer, guys. That's what I'll say. This is not how you lawyer. Hamburger. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here, being a part of the conversation and all of that. Okay. Oh, wow. Thank you, Dawn, for the for the $4 super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Again, I really do appreciate the love. Thank you so much for the support. And of course, as time goes on, as more information comes out, because it seems like this story just never stops, and this lawyer does not want to stop talking. And I also feel like, let me just say this too, I also feel like he's going out of his way to be like, wait, no, well, no. Like he's always trying to make up for his last conversation. You know what I'm saying? But it's only making it worse. He's only making it worse. Every time he gets on, he's like, let me explain myself. And it's like, no, bro, it still looks bad, homie. You're still screwing it up. You're still saying things that are poking more holes in the problem. You know what I'm saying? Every time he tries to plug a hole that he created, another one pops out because he just doesn't know when to stop talking. He needs to stop. Get off. Go offline for a while. Trust me, you will thank me later. Okay? Gainer, thank you so much for being a member for the past year. I really do appreciate it. This case is wild. Thank you for sticking with it, Pascal. Yes, this case is getting wild. And trust me, I'm here for it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us are. Let's keep it a buck. All right? But again, when more information comes out, we will be talking about it. And there's more. I got a couple pop-up videos for you guys a little bit later on today. We have that watch party. Do not forget, we will be watching the Brian Kohberger hearing in a few hours from now. I will be live around 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless it starts a little bit earlier. Of course, I'll let you guys know if it starts a little bit earlier. But from my understanding, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when it's all going down. So be on the lookout for that. First time seeing Kohberger in a while, and they're trying to throw out the indictment. It's not going to happen, but we're going to see what they do. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button down below, please. And thank you. That would really, really mean a lot. Let's get it past 800 likes. Okay. A like don't cost a thing. It just helps this channel grow. Okay. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Please and thank you. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that follow button. Don't forget to hit that reaction button down below. All right. And of course, don't forget, hit that join button down below. Become a member, support the channel. Go and check out my merch store, pascalmerch.com. Got some really great stuff over there. And I'm sure you'll really appreciate and enjoy some of that stuff. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. And much love to you guys. And I'll be talking to you guys very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Trust me, if this buffoonery keeps going the way it is, we will be back on live again very, very soon on this story. Okay? Much love to you guys. Talk to you guys soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.